Julia, starting with you this hour. In your view, how much of a factor did today's political debacle have on trading?
The market simply shrugged it off. If we have a look at what's happening in the market at the moment, it's in the middle of the earnings season. And of course, international markets also giving us a softer lead. So if we have a look at the intraday of the Australian market, this is what it looks like. Not much of an impact from the speeches coming through today and news of that leadership ballot. But of course, uncertainty is bad news for the market. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. We did see a bigger impact though in terms of the Australian dollar. This is the Australian dollar today, and as Kevin Rudd was speaking from Washington, we did see the Aussie dollar slowly moving down, and then as Julia Gillard announced the leadership ballot on Monday, we did see the Aussie dollar dropping. But as you can see, it's been a temporary effect, and overall both markets have been more influenced by the earnings season and also offshore developments. Because of what's happened domestically, we've pretty much ignored some of the news coming offshore, and overnight we did see European markets decline with softer than expected manufacturing numbers coming through. We also saw ratings agency Fitch come out to downgrade Greece's sovereign debt from CCC down to a C rating, saying that the bond swap that's being proposed, if it does go ahead, then that would be counted as a restricted default. So a negative impact, a negative lead coming through from European and US markets, but of course a lot happening on the Australian market. We saw two of the most shorted companies, David Jones and Fairfax, coming out with numbers today. Not much of a move from these two companies though. Insurance Australia Group though having a fantastic day after its result. The stock up by more than 8%. Telstra's worth a mention too. That stock was down by 1.8%. There was an outage affecting about 3 million customers from 1:50 p.m. to about 3 p.m. So that stock down, and of course One Steel up by a massive 21% today. In fact, the stock up 52% in the week to date so far, continuing that positive momentum out of its earnings result earlier on in the week.
Mike, Julia, of the big corporate results, reminding our viewers, of course, we are in reporting season. IAG, the clear winner in terms of investor reaction, but that having little to do with its actual report card today.
The report card was good, but investors tend to be more concerned about the future rather than the past. And if we have a look at these earnings results, I guess the market more concerned about the forecasts that are coming out of earnings season rather than the past results. IAG, though, ticking both fronts. I guess looking at its result today, coming in ahead of expectations. Consensus was for $110 million. It's coming at $144 million. Its insurance margin also beating. The market was expecting 6.7%. It's coming at 7.1%. But going into these results, there was an expectation that we could see a downgrade come through from Insurance Australia Group, and certainly the shares were pricing in the possibility of a downgrade. But instead of a downgrade, we've actually seen an upgrade to revenue forecast for the full year. So it does look like they've increased premiums. That's going to help the gross written premium for the year. So they've increased that from 6 to 9% previously, now up to 8 to 10%. And they are still expecting full year earnings to be on the bottom end of that 10 to 12% range. So altogether, the fact that there wasn't a downgrade, but actually an upgrade to full year revenue was a positive for the stock, and the stock up by 8.3% today.
It was the clear winner today. A clear loser was IDL. Talk us through this one.
Look, if we have a look at Industria, I mean, this is a company that makes its revenue off the global coal industry with services in that area. And this should be an area that's growing quite strongly. If we have a look at some of its peers, we've seen some fantastic results flow through. And if we have a look at guidance from Industria previous to this result, they were expecting to see revenue growth for the full year of in excess of 20%. We have a look at half-year revenue growth here. It's come out pretty flat, only growth of 0.6%. And in fact, net profit down by 14% here. So a bit of a shock from Industria. They've downgraded their revenue expectations. Previously, they were expecting to see more than 20% growth in revenue for the full year. They're now expecting to see 10 to 15% growth in revenue and profit growth of only 5 to 10%. So the shares absolutely smashed, and it is an environment where companies that come out with bad news or downgrade earnings see a severe reaction in share price, and we saw the shares tumbling a massive 23.3% today.